Hey guys, D1sco here, and today I'm going to read the PTB sort of patch note thing, the 7.2.0. So basically, um, for anyone who's new to this channel, so what I do is before I play a PTB, I like to read this because when I go into a PTB, especially a PTB like this one where it has like a new character, like new characters. I I and because I only make a few PTB videos, just because I'm not very knowledgeable on, just because I'm not the best player, so I can't really fully comment on everything in a PTB, and because I still have a lot to do in the base game right now. I've yet to even play the Scorchin BBQ event, which I know I'm aware that I only have like a few days left, but I just have been so busy. But yeah, so what I like to do, so I'm gonna read this, that way I can give you my thoughts and opinions on all of the changes and sort of, initial thoughts and opinions as well. Me and Orange actually did this for the End Transmission DLC chapter. I mean, because that was before he moved and I was hanging out with him, like when the PTB dropped, so that was nice. The PTB dropped the day that I watched the official trailer because the PTB was live longer, but as sort of a start to all this, I decided to watch the official trailer, and I'm very happy that I did because the official trailer was really cool. That video actually only has 3 views and 3 likes. I'm pretty sure I know who the free views and 3 likes were from. So if you want to help us out, um, I would I would recommend watching it. Just especially like if you want to see the trailer. I mean, why not? But yeah. So before I ramble on too long, let's jump into this. I know it's hard for you guys to see. Steam always has, so it always sits at like a weird angle, and because OBS is super laggy and doesn't really function well on my laptop, I try not to use it. I try not to use it, especially for like Dead by Daylight videos. So when I get into the PTB, which will be the next video Dead by Daylight videos after this one, I'm really not going to use OBS because it wouldn't be watchable. Plus, OBS likes to cut out a lot, and I don't really have any control over that. But so we're gonna start with the important section, and then just work our way down. Um, you, I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the different stuff as we get into it, and then I'll give you my final thoughts and opinions at the end. So, without further ado, this is important. Progress and save data information were copied from the live game to our PTP service on July 31st, 2023. That was actually during one of my breaks. That was actually during, because that would have been after the last Rift ended, the one and the anniversary event ended, and that was the last time that I played was those. And Nicholas, because I was playing a hardcore grind. I remember because I was hardcore grinding in the live game because of the anniversary event. I got all that done. It was like the second to last day. I did all like basically all of my Nicholas Cage PTB videos. Like I did, the last few that I needed to. And then I upload that. So I'm being a lot smarter with this one, but it's also but it's also because again, the event, and I haven't made any progress in it yet. I have a plan to, if it works out, I'm not saying it will, but if it works out, because I have a plan going, I just don't know if it's gonna work out or not yet. If it does work out, then I'll make a video of Orange's first time playing this PTB. I'll do some videos like with him on the PTB, and I don't know if we'll do any videos on the event together or not, but I was also planning on basically, well, like having us hardcore grinds on both of our accounts. So like, trying to get all the killer, especially get all the killer challenges done because I'm more confident in my survivor ability, and also we can play together we can play together as survivors. Whereas killer, it's mostly he's better than me, and was what I've heard about and from I don't know how true they are, but from what I've heard, the game is still like pretty rough. So I'm hoping that works all out. But yeah, so that will have most of my progress, except for I think a few levels from Meg that I've done recently, and that's about it. Um, and then obviously they talk about how you can make progress during the PTB, but it doesn't change forever. Content, new killer, the Xenomorph. I haven't watched much of Alien. I'm going to admit I've seen bits and pieces of at least the first movie. I have zero idea how many movies there are. Um, Nor do I really fully know what happens in the movie, besides a few things. Um, so a lot of this is probably going to go over my head, so just keep that in mind. I do think it's really cool that Alien is here. I love the soundtrack to Alien, so I'm very excited to hear the Xenomorphs' like music because I love just because I do really love the Alien soundtrack. They did a really good job of making it seem like you were in space. So it's okay. So we're starting with the killer power, and there's quite a bit to that. It says hidden pursuit. A series of tunnels become available on the map when the xenomorph is in play. That makes me think of Demogorgon or Demodog, as we like to call, as the community likes to call them. Just because Demodog, except because Demodog, you like place different teleporter spots and can teleport to the different ones. Um, by accessing a control station, it can enter these tunnels to quickly move around the map, detect the presence of nearby survivors, and speed up the cooldown time of its runner mode ability. Exiting a control station tags nearby survivors with killer instincts. I don't fully know what all that. Well, obviously, I'm not going to fully know what that means. But I can speculate. So I'm assuming the control stations are going to be are going. I'm assuming the control stations would be like certain things on the map. So like, just to give you some current game examples, plagues, fountains, technically Weskers and Wesker singularities and Nemesis is like box like chess, but those are for survivors. But they technically can't kind of count. Um, there's a few other characters that have something around the map where like that are like related to them. So when I hear the control station thing, that's what I think of. I could be wrong. I haven't played it yet, but that's like what I think of. Special ability runner mode. That does sound pretty cool, so I'm curious about. So the Xenomorph enters runner mode automatically when not on cooldown. In runner mode, the Xenomorph walks on four legs. Oh yeah, because he does do the Xenomorph does do that in a lot of movies. I've seen a lot of the clips and stuff that I've seen is him on like all fours, and I've even played. I don't know if it's in the one Mortal Kombat X video I did, but I have played the Xenomorph in Mortal Kombat X, and loved playing the Xenomorph in Mortal Kombat X. The Xenomorph was just a lot of fun, and but in that game he stands on like he stands like up like on the two legs. But I believe during some fatalities and stuff, he gets on all fours, and he had a few moves as well where he gets on all fours, which is really cool. Um, So he walks on four legs. Oh, and becomes stealthier. So Xenomorph is starting to sound like Demodog meets a stealth killer. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that's not going to be like effective or really cool to see. It's just based off of reading it. That's kind of where my mind is going. Reducing its tear radius. Nice. Well, in Runner mode, the Xenomorph also has access to a brutal tail attack. I'm not The thing that's kind of confusing me about the brutal tail attack is obviously that's going to be like a special attack move, like say Blink Strikes with Nurse, since they changed that to be that way now. But only when he's in his power, using the giant club, stuff like that. I'm just very curious. I'm just curious is it going to be a special attack like Blight or Nurse where you only take away one health state with it, or is it going to be like Oni and some others where you just full on insta down them? I'm very curious. Which route I would go? If I had to guess, I would say it's probably going to be more like Blight and Nurse in the sense of taking like away one health state, but I could also see it being like an instant down. So I'm curious. I'm not curious, so I'm very curious about that. But it sounds pretty cool. Map feature, control stations. So that seems to pretty much okay. So that does confirm what I was thinking of it being like plagues fountains where they're on the map. Okay, cool. So it says 7 control stations are scattered across the map. Survivors can interact with these stations to get a remote flame turret. Okay, so it's literally just like pretty much every killer that has something around the map. Because plagues, fountains, you go to it to cleanse. This sounds right in line with Wesker, Nemesis, and Singularity since they have chess. This sounds like that. This sounds exactly like that. This sounds exactly like that, and but it has the added element of the xenomorph. Of like the xenomorph also uses these as like a movement thing. So kind of, which makes me think of Dredge with lockers, in the sense of like, because like with lockers, both survivors and killers can mess with them, but Dredge full on teleports so to them. Um, so yeah, so basically the survivors get a remote flame turret, which I'm assuming is okay. It's gonna talk about next, but I'm assuming that's going to do something to. I'm assuming it'll do something against the xenomorph. I'm not entirely sure what it will do. I know, because usually like they just kind of stun the power. Usually, if you grab something from one of these, it's against the power of Nemesis and Wesker. You get rid of infection. Singularity, you EMP the biopods. While the xenomorph can enter and exit the tunnels underneath the control stations. Special item, remote flame turret. Here we go. Let's learn about. Turrets can be placed in the map to counteract the xenomorph. Huh. So you take a turret and then you're holding on to it, and then you place it at certain spots. Okay. The turret attacks. Or sorry, I'm looked at the wrong spot. When the xenomorph enters the radius and line of sight of a turret, the turret attacks. This attack staggers the xenomorph and will cause runner mode to end. If a turret successfully knocks the xenomorph out of runner mode or fires for too long, it overheats. It must be repaired by a survivor. The xenomorph can attack turrets to destroy them. This is the first time that survivors. This is the first time where survivors get something they can place that actually harms the killer, because before Xenomorph's power here, we have flashlights, but that's an item, and then we have flashbang, which is a perk, blast mine, which is a perk, and then there's of course off, and then there's the the event items, because there's some like event items that do as well. So that's really cool to me that already Xenomorph being sort of a demodog, but also with some stealth elements, is already very unique because of the fact that Survivor's turret actually does something against the Xenomorph. all the other killer powers where you grab something, as I've stated, it works against their power, like the effects of it. Whereas the turrets shoot the xenomorph itself, which is pretty cool. It definitely makes sense that the xenomorph can attack the turrets to destroy them. The whole overheating and having to be repaired thing makes sense as well. I am curious about the whole, like, what happens when you stagger a xenomorph. I'm assuming it's going to be. I might actually be able to test that when I make the PTB videos. But anyways, like, I wonder if it's gonna be like if you get flat, because I'm assuming it's gonna be like a flashlight and all that stuff where you just can't see. But I am curious about the duration of it and stuff since I don't know yet. Um, so okay, so now we get to his perks, which have really cool names. Um, so yeah, let's get into this. So we start off with Ultimate Weapon, which sounds awesome. When you open a locker, this perk activates for 30 seconds. Okay, so right off the bat, it sounds like what I forget, Darkness Revealed from Dredge, where you open a locker and anyone who's by a locker, you see their aura. But obviously, this is a different perk. But it's similar in the sense if you open a locker to activate it. Is what I'm trying to say. Survivors entering your terrace scream and reveal their position and gain blindness for 30 seconds. This perk then goes on cooldown for 40, 35, 30 seconds. That honestly sounds pretty good. But unlike Darkness Revealed, which is like an information perk and gives you information pretty much around the map just from any locker, I feel like Ultimate Weapon's situational because they have to be in your tear radius when you open the locker for all the stuff to happen. So to me at least, Ultimate Weapon, again, great name. Sounds pretty good, but it definitely is very situational. But it sounds really good, honestly. Rapid Brutality. You can no longer gain Bloodlust. If I remember correctly, Bloodlust makes you faster. Like, there's Bloodlust Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Tier 3 is, like, the fastest, and that's if the chase is going on, like, way too long. So I think it's interesting that there's a perk now where I think there's other perks that do it, but I just think it's interesting that the Xenomorph has a perk where you can no longer gain Bloodlust. Um, Oh, okay. I see why. Hitting a survivor with a basic attack is you 5% haste for 8, 9, 10 seconds. So that sounds like I believe it's leverage from Skull Merchant. One of Skull Merchant's perks has an effect where you do something against like this survivors, like where something the survivor does something to you or you do something to the survivor and you gain haste. That's why I'm kind of comparing to. So Rapid Brutality sounds pretty. Honestly, sounds pretty good. Last time I played this game, there was a lot. There was a lot of face camping and tunneling, and or the killer player was just amazing, and it was just nothing but 4K, and it was pretty stressful. And then the few times I played killer, trying to get some of the killer stuff from the event, from the anniversary event. I was getting cracked survivors that just knew how to use flashlights, knew how to stun well, and I just couldn't play the game. Very frustrating, very annoying. I'm very happy to have gotten this break. Overwatch has been a lot funner. I haven't, even though I haven't been able to play much, been able to play much. But I've really preferred this break because oh my god, I left the game in such a terrible like state in terms of sanity because it was so hard. And from what I've heard, it sounds really difficult as well. So Rapid Brutality in some ways I think might make that a little worse because yes, they no longer have bloodlust. So if you're a good killer, like so if you're a good if you're a good looper and all that, then that's good. But I'm very bad at this. But I'm very bad at Dead by Daylight. So for me, I'm going to get hit with a basic attack. The killer's going to gain a 5% haste speed, catch up to me super quickly, and then I'm going to get hooked. So Rapid Brutality it's definitely going to kill. I feel like it's probably going to kill me in orange a lot faster and some other players. And I could so the perk does sound good. It's just if you're a bad survivor player like I am, then you are going to probably hate this perk because of how because of how it works. But it does sound pretty good, all things considered. Alien Instinct. This Alien Instinct, the name alone intrigues me. So let's see. This perk activates when you hook a survivor. There's a few perks that do that already. So I'm very curious what's gonna make this one set this one apart. You see the aura of the farthest injured survivor for 5 seconds, and that survivor is oblivious for 16, 18, 20 seconds. So that does sound pretty good. There's plenty of games that I've had where a lot of us are just injured and we just don't know, like, we don't really heal much. Well, we try to, but so I feel like a good killer player is going to get some use out of it. I do feel like Alien Instinct is a good perk. It could be a little situational because if you're a killer player who, like, who basically goes for one person and then you hook them and then you go for the next person, you're not going to get much value out of that perk because you're not gonna see like auras very often. But overall, I like the Xenomorph's perk builds. It does sound pretty good. I do feel like it's pretty fitting for him, and I'm definitely excited to. It sounds pretty good, honestly. I'm sure there will be some great builds with other characters that will involve his perks. I'm sure Xenomorph is going to have plenty of good builds for himself, but his free perks do sound like individually do sound pretty good. Again, Ultimate Weapon seems in the Alien Instinct. They all seem kind of the most situational, but still, like they're pretty good. All things considered. So, new survivor Ellen Ripley, who I believe is from the first Alien movie, and if I remember correctly, I believe Ellen Ripley is at least the main character of the first movie. Again, I don't know how many Alien movies there are, so maybe it's like a Lori situation where she's the main character of all the movies. I have no clue. I couldn't tell you. I don't know enough about Alien to tell you to answer that. So if anyone wants to, I don't know, tell me about these movies, I guess tell me in the comment section below. But I mean, yeah, let's see what Ellen's got to bring to the table. So perks, Lucky Star. She has some interest. She has one of her perk names is very close. Is in terms of name, like my mind went to a different perk a little bit. That's just me being dumb. Ignore that. When you hide it, oh god. So Lucky Star is a locker perk, which I know Felix has one. Felix is super helpful because you can replenish charges of items. I believe Gabriel has one, but his got like nerfed to being like a one-time use because, well, not one-time use, but your repair speed gets like decreased when you use it. Uh, Leon has one because to like do which is his flashbang one, some others. So this one, let's just see how like Ellen compares to the other ones. This perk it activates when you hide in a locker. You leave no pools of blood and make no grunts of pain for 10 seconds. When you exit the locker, you see other survivors in the closest generator's aura in yellow for 10 seconds. This perk then goes on cooldown for 40, 45, 30 seconds. So it seems to me to be a bit of an information perk. If you're injured, obviously you get the 10 seconds benefits of that. But it seems like if you just have like no idea like where anyone else is or what's happening, you could hop into a lock. You could open a locker, hide in it, and then exit as long as you have Lucky Star available to you. And then you will see the other survivors and close inland, like the closest generator's aura. So I do feel like it's good in terms of information. Not sure how effective the whole injured stuff are going to be. I mean, they're definitely going to be effective. But in terms of just raw, using this perk as just raw information, I do think it could be helpful. Chemical Trap. I'm very intrigued by this one because that is a cool name. After completing 70%, 60% to 50% progress on any generator, so it's already sounding like Wiretap and Blast Mine, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. This perk activates while standing next to a dropped pallet. Oh, so it's work on a generator, but it involves a dropped pallet. Interesting. Press the active ability button 2 to install a trap, which stays active for 100, 110, 120 seconds. The aura of trap pallets are revealed in yellow to all survivors. When the killer performs the break action on the trap pallet, the trap explodes and they are slowed by 50% for 4 seconds. So this perk definitely intrigues me. The way I see this perk being effective is if there's like a pallet, because that like the killer just hasn't broken yet. You could put the trap on that, and then if he tries going for you, because it only activates if it's a break pallet. You could like slide on top of something and then try to get him to break it, or if you're in like chase with the killer and it works out that you can drop a pallet, stay alive long enough, which I probably wouldn't be able to do, but also get that trap off onto it, and then if they go to break it because you trapped it, the effect of it. So chemical trap does sound good if as long as the killer isn't like one of the players who like who like um immediately breaks pallets, and the fact that it slows down the killer by 50% for 4 seconds is pretty good. Sounding at least. Light footed. When you are healthy, this perk activates. Your running footsteps are set. Ooh! This perk goes on cooldown for 26, 24, 20 seconds after doing a rushed action. Honestly, I like that one a lot. Um, for me personally, I think light-footed might be one of my most used perks for Ellen. Whenever I get a chance to go for Ellen's adept, just because I really like the sound of that, like being able to silently run. Because I just see it being useful as like I hear the killer's terrorists like somewhere by me. Like obviously they haven't seen me yet. I could then use that perk to run, but I do it silently to like further keep me like hidden. So yeah, I like Lightfoot a lot. A new map which is called Nostromo Wreckage, which I'm assuming is. So I'm assuming the Nostromo Wreckage is where she woke up in the trailer. Because if you remember in the trailer, she wakes up, she's like walking, doing stuff. She finds Dwight hooked, and then and then the xenomorph, and then she like sees the xenomorph. So I'm assuming that's the map. They didn't show a whole lot because the end transmission trailer showed like him working on like a generator and stuff, whereas her trailer you just see a hooked Dwight, which is still really cool. I really liked this trailer. There we go. Yeah, Nostromo Wreckage. I'm very excited to see that. It says explore the mysterious crash site of the iconic Nostromo. Nostromo. I don't. However you pronounce that. If I'm saying it wrong, please correct me in the comment section below. Visit landmarks familiar to the fan of the Alien franchise. Familiar to the fans. Okay. In a unique setting where you will find yourself chased in and out of the ship, run the killer around the shuttle that brought Ripley to the world of the entity. Navigate through the alien landscape, and you may yet escape from the remain of the wrecks. So I am intrigued by the map. It does give me Tobo Landing vibes in some ways, in the sense of it involves in the sense of like there's a spaceship on on a planet and you get to like explore everything. I'm not sure how much of the planet will be explorable because I remember Toba's Landing. It's pretty much all the planet. There's not a whole lot in terms of the spaceship. So I'm very interested in how this one's going to look in game because I'm very excited for it. Killer tweaks. So these are the stuff that I'm probably not going to see a whole lot, but I am still happy that there's some killer tweaks because might make people better. So we're starting with the knight, which is interesting. Pillaged mead decreases the amount of time it takes for a guard to complete their order actions by 15% with 25%. So, okay. So, the guards complete their order, I guess, a little faster. Okay, interesting. Tattered Tabard increases control time for all guards by 8 seconds with 6 seconds. I could see that one being useful a lot. Town Watch's Torch. When survivors escape guard hunts without being hit 2 times, was 3 times, the night gains undetectable status for 25 seconds. Yeah, I could see that perk not get like or add-on. I mean, sorry, not perk. Add-on not getting like much value in the past because it was free. So, overall, I like the killer tweaks. I don't know if me or Orange really the rare times we play Night if either of us really use any of those add-ons much. So I don't know if it'll be super effective against us. But I do like the changes. The Demogorgon, which I think is interesting considering he's well, you can't get him anymore. I know that Behavior said that they are trying to get a hold of Netflix about it, and Netflix is just not responding to them. So I'm very happy to know that they are trying. I'm sure there's got to be. I'm sure there's some players that are trying to help them. So I'm hoping that we can get some information on about it soon, because I would like for it to work out that we can get access to them again and maybe even get another Stranger Thing chapter or something, or maybe a chapter based off of another Netflix show. But we'll see. Killer power. Undetectable after teleport lasts 5 seconds was 3 seconds. I don't know if that's an add-on or if they actually mean the full-on killer power got changed. I'm assuming they mean the full-on killer power, but that's cool. Rat tail increases speed of opening a portal by 50% with 25%. I feel like that's good. Unknown egg decreases the cooldown after traversing the upside down by 2.5 seconds with 1.5 seconds. I feel like that's good. Violet wax cap increases the duration of the undetectable effect gains when emerging from a portal by 1 second. Was 0.5 seconds? I feel like that's good. Lepro's Lichen, whatever. After emerging from a portal, the Earth will also rise within 16 meters of an active portal or revealed for 3 seconds. Yeah, so I like Demogorgon's changes, honestly. So what's next? I have looked at this one looked at this patch note earlier. I just mostly saying the length because I know some of these can be super long videos. There's one that's over an hour, and I had camera issues, so I had to do a part two, and the part two was almost like way shorter, but I decided to spice it up a little bit by watching the Nicolas Cage. I think it was the Nicolas Cage official trailer, or the trailer for Nicolas Cage being available for purchase. It was one of those two. I would do that, but again, I've already watched the trailer, so if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check it out. Features PC graphics update. So my PC here, which is obviously what I'm recording of right now, I have the lowest possible settings because otherwise it has like a hard time running. And even though you can tell it's like janky looking, I'm very used to it now, and you still get the general idea of like what's happening, and it still looks honestly good. It's just not as good as say Orange's computer before it stopped working. So it says new setting to toggle VSync on and off. I don't fully remember what VSync is, but that's good. New setting to change the FPS limit. I like that one a lot. New setting toggle the anti-aliasing on and off. That's good. Setting for resolution option update. Honestly, they all sound pretty good. They're just graphic stuff, but still, like that sounds nice. So we got some bug fixes now. So animation is When facing the Onryo or Sadako, the VHS is now properly aligned in survivor's hands. I feel like that's good. Audio. Survivors will now produce a scream of pain when being hit by the Deathslinger's harpoon. Oh yeah, 'cause they don't really scream much. They just kind of have... They sort of do like a grunt. Like a sort of a little bit of like a grunt of pain, but still... So I feel like that's cool. I just don't know how much that like really matters. Bots. Bots are now more likely to be productive with in the dare radius, so we're just making bots even better then. Alright. Bots' behavior has improved when facing killer sidekicks, such as the Nemesis zombies or the Knight's Guards. I will say, the bots, in my opinion, the bots are better than most players. So the fact, and ever since the bots got introduced, like, to custom games, they've been slowly getting improved. And now that we have the disconnecting bots, I believe the disconnecting bots work off of the same changes. So now the disconnecting bots have all these changes. Uh, I think I'm honestly, I think that's good. One nice thing is if you're a really good killer player and you just make people DC a lot, which a lot of people, I remember seeing a few things about people having issues with people constantly DCing, and they were getting angry about it because they wanted to play with other people and not bots or whatever. But I wouldn't mind playing against bots if I was actually like a good killer player, because what that means is, one, I technically already won, and two, even though the bots are absolutely ridiculous, all four survivors got nothing for the match, and I got free progress and stuff, and I just get to goof off with the bots that are like really good, but I get to keep playing the game and just like goof off with like the bots. Um, so yeah, so I am just, but yeah, so the next change for bots is bots no longer attempt to confuse the killer by crouch walking during a chase. To be fair, I don't think that many of us would get confused by that, because crouch walking, like, you're making yourself slower for no reason, so the killer would be able to hit you a lot faster. Uh, bots now investigate supply cases more often. I feel like that's good. Bots now telepathically communicate to avoid. Are you? Oh my god! The bots can flipping Oh my god, that's insane. Bots now telepathically communicate to avoid multiple bots running the healer unhook a survivor at the same time. The fact that they now telepathically communicate with each other is very scary. Reverse bear traps no longer cause boss to freeze when the exit gates are opened. I mean, to be fair, I haven't fully figured out how pig works, because sometimes they like look, because like when you're in the exit gates, you will just die from the trap sometimes. That happened to me once. I was playing Hattie, and I believe it might have been for Adept, or it was sometime after I got Adept, and the exit gate was super powered, and this pig was just messing with me. And what I mean by that was this pig player would not leave me alone so I could get off the bear trap. So what happened was I get to the exit gates, and they did that strategy where they like uncrouch or whatever. So my timer starts, and because I'm in the exit gate area, it just automatically explodes and I die immediately. I was so angry about that. I've gotten over it a little bit. I'm still upset that it happened, but I mean, that was so long. That was last year, so I don't really care anymore. Um, so yeah, honestly, they sound pretty good. The bots changes sound pretty good. They're definitely a lot better now, which I think is cool. But oh my god, the whole telepathically communicating thing is just scary sounding. Perks. The blast mine notification no longer appears after a delay. Nice. And the playlist your food cooldown no longer shows in the HUD when undetectable. Interesting. Platforms. Steam experiencing a network issue will no longer cancel an existing lobby. I wonder if that would help out Orange much, because I know he has that a lot. But that does sound really good. UI. The match found message will no longer appear during matchmaking. Instead, the UI will go from searching for match directly into joining match. Because, yeah, that's like a thing. It goes searching for match, and then it goes match found, and then it will say that for a few seconds, and then I think it just goes either directly puts you into the match, or then it says like joining match for a second or something like that. Display the remaining time when hovering the mouse on the store character item. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I think that's cool that that's a thing now. Fix an issue where bot loadout slots grayed out when nothing equipped. That's good. Miscellaneous. This is actually a pretty short video compared to some others, especially compared to the last two video, which is almost 3 hours. My god, I hope we don't do that again, because jeez. Miscellaneous. Fix an issue where the wrong killer's power could appear in the loadout menu, preventing equipping add-ons. That's a good fix, because that would suck. Disconnected players can no longer spectate the game they disconnected from. Oh yeah, because that was a thing you could do before. If you rage quitted from a match, like intentionally DC'd, you could spectate, and now you can't do that. So that's cool. Known issues. We are aware of and working on the issue where killers can be trapped in or get on top of the pallet in the area of close killers. Like that sounds amazing. Nurse coming for you, you just trap her. God, oh, that sounds so good. I'm very happy that's getting fixed, but just reading these things, and I'm sure if you watched a few of these PTV videos, you're noticing a pattern where I get excited over trapping killers, but it's just so cool that there was stuff before where you could just trap them. It's so funny. But yeah, I think it's a good change. But we are aware that Lepro's Lichen does not show auras during traversal. All right, guys. That last one was interesting as well. So we finally finished it, and I'll quickly recap. And yeah, so no, the known issues sound pretty good. They're just not fixed yet. The miscellaneous sounded pretty good. The UI stuff sounds good. The platform sounds good. The perks, these perk ones sound good. I'm very happy about the. I'm very excited for the bot changes, especially that whole telepathically communicating thing, because that just sounds awesome. The little bug fixes that they did sound good. The PC graphic update sounds pretty good as well. Demogorgon Knights little add-on tweaks and Demogorgon a little bit of a power tweak sound really good. The new map, just from reading this, sounds really cool. And and assuming that and see what they showed off in the official trailer, it looks pretty good as well. So Ellen, good old Ellen Ripley's perks sounds really cool, especially like Lightfoot and Lucky Star. But Chemical Trap sounds. I like Chemical Trap a lot as well because it takes Wire Trap, and Blast Mine, and instead of putting it on a generator, put it on a pallet, dropped pallet, and I think that's really cool. As for the Xenomorph's perks, his perks sound pretty good. They do seem a little situational, but still, they sound really good, like, all in all, and I'm very excited for that. Um, his his power stuff sounds interesting. I'm very excited to see the remote flame turret. Um, the runner mode sounds really cool as well. The hidden, being able to do that tunnel thing sounds cool, and the control stations sound pretty cool as well. And yeah, so my final thoughts here are this sounds amazing. I don't see too much of them getting like full on reverted back to normal and say because they done that a few times where they have something in the PTB with Pyramid Head because they wanted Pyramid Head to have more. They were trying to give Pyramid Head like another option to like be able to hook people, but people were complaining about a potential playstyle that Pyramid Head mains could do, so they decided to revert that change. But there's nothing in the cure. Nothing in the cure sounds like that to me, at least, where they would have to revert it. The only stuff I could see them doing for the launch game would be maybe tweaking Xenomorph a little bit, just depending on how like tweaking his and the Xenomorph and Ellen's perks a little bit. Maybe slightly changing the way the Xenomorph power works. Maybe um, if there is like something that needs tweaking, I wouldn't know because I haven't played them yet. But yeah, overall this sounds really good, and I can't wait to play it. So expect my expect my first like reactions to the PTB. That will be the next PTB video I do. And then after that, I'll do a PTB video where I full on play as the Xenomorph on the new map against bots that should at least be Ellen. I don't know if I'll be able to give them Ellen's perks or not, but they'll at least all be Ellen. And I'll play at least a few matches of that. Then I was thinking maybe giving my final thoughts and opinions on sort of the Xenomorph and stuff. I might not do that. I'm not sure yet. I suck, so I'm not sure if I'd be able to. But I do at least want to play a little bit with him, just see how he works and see how I feel about him. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you liked it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, ring the bell, do all the algorithmic garbage. It helps us out a lot, and it means a lot to us. We have plenty of Dead by Daylight content coming, as I've kind of stated in this video. I'm not sure about Overwatch content. That might get a little break. I'll try to do more Lego Marvel Superhero 100, the more parts to the 100% run of Lego Marvel Superheroes. I'll try to bring the Stick of Truth back and a few other things. And yeah, I hope I see you guys in the next video. Bye. Bye.